Title: The Fence Line. I didn't move to Texas for the drama. That's the first thing people always assume when they hear this story. They think I must have been chasing something. Cheap land, a new life, maybe even conflict. But the truth is much more boring. I wanted quiet. After 8 years in the military, I was done with noise. Done with constant orders, fluorescent lighting, and the kind of stress that hums in your bones, even when nothing's happening. I took my discharge, used what savings I had, and bought a small property just outside a town called Cedar Ridge. Half an acre, a modest house, a crooked fence that looked like it had been installed during a mild earthquake. It was perfect. For about 3 weeks. The first time I met her, I was barefoot, covered in sawdust, and halfway through fixing that fence. I remember hearing the heels before I saw her. Sharp, deliberate clicks against gravel. I turned, expecting maybe a delivery or someone lost, but instead I saw a woman standing at the edge of my property, like she owned the horizon. Blonde, sunglasses too big for her face, a clipboard clutched against her chest like it was a weapon. "You must be the new owner," she said. Not a greeting, a statement. "Yeah," I said, wiping my hands on my jeans. "That's me." She didn't step closer, didn't offer a name, just stood there, scanning everything like she was inventorying it. "I'm Karen Whitmore," she finally said, president of the Cedar Ridge Homeowners Association. That should have been my first red flag. Now, in my defense, because I've replayed this moment more times than I care to admit, I genuinely didn't think much of it at the time. I knew HOAs existed, I knew they could be annoying, but I also knew they were usually tied to suburban developments, not half-acre properties out in the outskirts. "I didn't think this area had an HOA," I said. She smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. It does now. Chapter 2. The Paper. She handed me a packet. At least 20 pages, stapled and organized, with tabs and highlighted sections like it was some kind of legal dossier. "These are the community standards," she said. "As a property owner, you are required to comply." I flipped through it. Most of it looked ridiculous. Approved fence colors, grass height restrictions, guidelines for visual harmony. "I'm not part of any HOA," I said, handing it back. Her smile didn't move. "You are now." "No," I said, a little firmer. "I bought this property outright. There was nothing in the deed about an HOA." She tilted her head slightly, like I'd just said something mildly amusing. "That's because we were established recently. All residents are expected to comply moving forward." "That's not how that works." There was a pause, a long one. She lowered her sunglasses just enough for me to see her eyes. "We'll see about that." Then she turned and walked away, heels clicking like a countdown. Chapter 3. The letters begin. The first letter arrived 3 days later. Official-looking envelope. My name printed cleanly across the front. Inside was a notice of violation. Fence non-compliance, color and structural irregularities. Attached was a fine. $50. I laughed. Actually laughed out loud in my kitchen, holding the paper like it was a joke someone had mailed me. I ignored it. That was my second mistake. Chapter 4. Escalation. Over the next 2 weeks, more letters came, each one more aggressive than the last. Grass height, violation. Trash bin visibility, violation. Improper vehicle parking alignment, violation. That one really got me. I had one truck. It was parked in my driveway. Apparently the angle was inconsistent with community standards. The fines stacked up quickly. $50 turned into $200, then $5. Every letter ended the same way. Failure to comply may result in legal action. At first I still thought it was bluffing. Then I came home one evening and found a notice taped to my door. A real one, with a signature. Intent to lien property. That's when it stopped being funny. Chapter 5. The Call. I called the county office the next morning. I kept it simple. "Is my property part of an HOA?" The woman on the line pulled up records. "No," she said. "There's no registered HOA tied to your parcel." I asked her to double-check. She did. Same answer. No HOA. That's when I realized what was happening. Karen wasn't enforcing rules. She was inventing them. Chapter 6. The Neighborhood. I started talking to the neighbors. Most of them kept their distance at first. Small town, tight circles. People don't always trust newcomers, especially ones asking questions. But eventually, I got pieces of the story. Karen had moved in about a year before me. Military spouse. Her husband was deployed most of the time. She didn't like how the neighborhood looked, said it lacked standards. So she made her own. At first, it was just suggestions, then guidelines, then fines. Some people paid, just to avoid conflict. Others ignored her. A few, very few, pushed back. Those were the ones she focused on. Now she had me. Chapter 7. The Second Encounter. I didn't go looking for her. She came back. Same heels, same sunglasses, same clipboard. I see you haven't addressed the violations, she said. I spoke to the county, I replied. There's no HOA here. She didn't react. Your fines are now past due. I'm not paying them. That's when her expression changed. Just slightly. Enough to see the irritation underneath. You're making this more difficult than it needs to be. You are. Another pause. Then she stepped closer this time. You think you can just ignore community standards? She said quietly. I think you don't have any authority here. Her jaw tightened. We'll see. I almost laughed again. Almost. Chapter 8. The Tow Truck. 2 days later, my truck was gone. Just gone. No warning, no note. Just an empty driveway where it had been. I stood there for a solid minute, trying to process it. Then I saw the sticker on the mailbox. Vehicle removed due to HOA parking violation. That's when I got angry. Not annoyed, not frustrated. Angry. I called the towing company listed on the sticker. They confirmed it. Authorized by Cedar Ridge HOA, the guy said. I asked for proof. He didn't have any. Lady said she was the president, he added. Seemed official. I hung up. Then I called the police. Chapter 9. The Shift. The officer who came out was older, calm. The kind of guy who'd seen enough nonsense to recognize it quickly. I explained everything. The letters, the fines, the fake HOA. He listened. Then he asked one question. Do you have proof there's no HOA? I can get it, I said. Do that, he replied. And don't touch anything else until then. That was the moment things shifted. Up until then, I'd been reacting. Now, I had a plan. Chapter 10. Building the Case. I gathered everything. County records confirming no HOA. Property deeds showing no covenants. Every letter Karen had sent me. Photos of the notices. Screenshots of texts from neighbors who'd received similar threats. I even got a statement from the towing company admitting they acted on her word alone. Then I waited, because I knew she wouldn't stop. Chapter 11. The Breaking Point. She didn't. A week later, I received a final notice. Legal action initiated. Property lien pending. That was it. I filed a report. Fraud, harassment, unauthorized towing. And then I did one more thing. I hired a lawyer. Chapter 12. The Confrontation. The court date came faster than I expected. Small claims. Nothing dramatic on paper, but the room was full. Word had spread. Karen walked in like she owned the place. Same posture, same confidence. She even brought a binder. I almost respected that. Almost. When it was her turn to speak, she laid it out like she'd practiced it 100 times. Community standards, she said. Property values. Resident compliance. It sounded convincing, if you didn't know the truth. Then it was my turn. I kept it simple. No HOA exists, I said. She created one. She issued fines without authority. She had my vehicle towed illegally. I handed over the documents. The judge read them carefully. Then he looked at Karen. "Do you have proof of an established HOA?" he asked. She hesitated, just for a second. Then she opened her binder. What she pulled out looked official. But it wasn't. Not really. It was paperwork she drafted herself. Rules, guidelines, titles. No registration, no legal standing, nothing. The judge didn't even need to say it. You could see it in his face. Everything unraveled quickly after that. The towing company admitted fault. Neighbors came forward. More complaints surfaced. Karen tried to argue, tried to regain control, but it was gone. By the end of the hearing, the outcome was clear. All fines dismissed. Damages awarded for the towing. Formal warning issued against further harassment. And most importantly, a record. Official, legal, permanent. I saw her once after that. A week later. No heels this time. No clipboard. Just quiet. She didn't say anything. Neither did I. She got into her car and drove away. And that was it. I finished the fence a few days later. Same crooked line. Same uneven posts. But it felt different. Not because it was perfect, but because it was mine. No standards. Just a piece of land I'd worked for. And finally, silence again.